Now I know there's a lot of terrible anime characters nowadays, especially in cartoons, but what about in anime films? Well, since I'm the type of guy that knows a lot about anime films and seen a lot of those, I already know some these characters that are quite terrible, and I already made my top 10 list to prove you so. So anywho, I would like to I'll present the top 10 worst animated film characters.
Passion Eddie reporting for duty. Duty.
Nut Job is one of those hated animated films. The reason why is that it's quite mean spirited and it also has a lot of lame jokes. And the one that is the good example of that is Surly. I mean, sure, I know Grayson is worse, but let's not forget how Surly is the main character of the film and Grayson is just a side character. He's such an asshole at times because he always treats Buddy and all the animals like crap and not sharing food with them, which he can set up this mean-spirited tone to begin with. Now, he's only at the bottom of the list since he did actually start to become better in the sequel, and he's not the worst character out there, so yeah, maybe there's others out there worse, but let's just see.
Passion Eddie reporting for duty. Duty.
Chicken Little is often known to be one of Disney's biggest disappointment animated films, which has a bit of cheap animation, story that felt objectively confused, and characters that are not quite memorable. And a good example of those kinds of characters would have to be Cluck. The biggest problem with him is that he doesn't show any respect to his son at all. He always treats him as garbage and doesn't even stand up for him until the very end. And for the love of God, who on earth would ever want Cluck as a little father to a bloody chick? Because I certainly don't if I was ever a chicken. So, yeah, the reason why he's low on this list is that he doesn't act this all the time and he just has less screen time, so at least that's fair enough.
Passion Eddie reporting for duty. Duty.
Okay, yes, we all know that Polar Squad is one of the worst anime films of all time, with its very predictable and bland story, some animation that really is kind of glitchy at times, well, not all the time, sometimes, and characters that don't catch people's attention. And the one that doesn't get the most attention and often hated, it would have to be Swifty. He's just a brand hero who is just trying to be an actual hero instead. But his egotistical of being a hero just comes over him where he just acts like a total jerk. But what's kind of on this low on this list is that he's not egotistical at times. Sometimes he is, but not all the time. Okay, you get my point.
Passion Eddie reporting for duty. Duty.
Mars Needs Moms is often known to be one of the biggest animated bombs out there. No joke, like over $144 million that they lose, and was even the reason why motion capture was an animation medium that was shut down. But onto the movie itself, it's not really all that special in hell. And the one that's not special in this film is Milo. Because he's basically, when you take like a kid and make him like Caillou and make him so much worse. I mean, I wouldn't say he's worse than Caillou, since Caillou is way more worse than Milo, of course. But he always acts like a total brat throughout the film. And always treats and his one damn line, it always had broken her mother's heart, and I genuinely feel bad for her, even if I don't quite care about her in the first place. And this is a good example on why you should not turn a kid into an insufferable brat.
Passion Eddie reporting for duty. Duty.
Okay, we all know about the Open Season franchise, one of the films that is mostly a bit of a mix. Well, some people may like the first, but others quite hate the sequels for obvious reasons. So, you may be wondering, which character from one of these Open Season films will be on this list? Well, it would have to be Elliot, but you may be wondering, which Elliot? Well, the one I'm going for is the one from Open Season 2. The reason why he's on Octopus Season 2 is that in the first film, I didn't actually quite mind him, to be honest, and in the third film he had less screen time, and in the fourth film, he wasn't the one who started all this hatred, my hatred for Elliot. It was in the second film that made me hate Elliot more. Like, he's just a scumbag with all terrible jokes and makes people to root for him, even though he's odd, and it makes him one of the main characters. You replace Boog's role. Sony, what have you done? I didn't want Elliot to be the main character. Sure, I didn't mind him from the first film, but this has gone way too far. And hopefully it doesn't get worse then.
Crash and Eddie reporting for duty. Duty.
Okay, we all know Strange Magic, don't we? One of like Lucas's worst productions ever made. Like the most disappointing film we ever seen come from the guy who was the legend of making Star Wars films. And even made tons of terrible characters in Strange Magic. But which one is the worst? I would have to go with Dawn. The reason why she's on this list is that she's annoying as hell. She's horny as hell too. And when you combine them two both together, it makes her even more obnoxious. Yes. And whenever I see her on screen, I always have to get a pain in my head after seeing her whenever she acts like a total horny, no good, loving son of a dude she is.
Crash and Eddie reporting for duty. Duty.
Okay, Walking with Dinosaurs is a film that had a chance to be like a dinosaur film, with no talking dinosaurs and all that. But then for some reason they add voice actors into some only 4 characters, while the other characters there, which weren't voice acted, were actually making this film a waste of time. But I'm wondering which character who was voice acted will be on this list. I can't decide, so all of them should be here. The ones that talk throughout the movie just never shut up, with cringy jokes, bad dialogue, and just a complete waste of acting from the most top-notch actors. And the reason why they brought them in is just set out the marketing. And you think that these will raise the money? Yes, but no. They may be like an actor's cast, but there's nowhere near the top in a lame old film like this. Okay, after seeing the image or the video I just put in number whatever it had, you already tell who's gonna be on this list. Crash and Eddie from Ice Age. Of course, it's these two. What kind of Ice Age character would not be on this list if it weren't for Crash and Eddie? I know there are some terrible Ice Age characters out there, but these two are the worst. They always have terrible puns that always end in the same stupidity, and just makes the audience feel bored and just feel like it's a waste of their time. And they even got worse in the freaking Disney's version of Ice Age in Adventures of Buck Wild. I mean, sure, they actually do have an arc of being independent, but they do not much things doing throughout the entire film, which makes these two more like a waste and makes Buck a lot more decent compared to these two.
Crash and Eddie reporting for duty. Duty.
And now we have Harvey Weinstein's worst animated film in his company, which I should shut down after making that. But not only does it have a lot of terrible characters, but even has actors who are known for having the funniest moments in acting and other projects that actually it makes as a disappointment. But the one character that's the worst out of them, it would have to be Doogal himself, the title character. Because all he does is acts like a total jerk. I mean, sure, others do that. But the weird side of him is that whenever he tries candy, it feels like a candy addiction, like he has a drug. Ugh. I mean, I don't even know what is with this dog at all. Oh, he makes me feel confused and quite uncomfortable. And before we get to number 1, here is an honorable mention. And the one that's in this honorable mention is Cody Maverick. But the one that we're talking about is the one from Surf's Up 2. Yes, that Cody. The one that acts like a total jerk, which in the first film, he actually learned from his idol that that you shouldn't kill your enemies in order to get the victory. And guess what? The idol isn't in this movie. Big C is nowhere to be mentioned. And I'm wondering why the hell did the film creator screw up on him in the first place? And I know he's voiced by the actor who did the same voice as Finn. I think I might check that out there. Yeah, but it makes this film feel a bit mean-spirited. Okay, not entirely, since he did either do better. But this Cody is quite a big disappointment.
Passion Eddie reporting for duty. Duty.
After making this list, I knew one character who was known to be the worst. Ever since I actually saw this character on my DVD after watching this anime film, I can already tell that this guy would be one of the most hated anime film characters out there. And a lot of people did agree. So, with that said, I would like you all people who are watching this video right now, to meet
Oscar. You might think you know, but you have no idea.
Okay, it's obvious on what's wrong with this character. He is a literal pile of trash. Seriously, he just lied that he actually killed a shark, but he didn't. And he acts like he has a total ego that makes him think that he actually did it himself, and he actually has this cringy tone of being hip and trendy with the kids, which gives this film an outdated tone to it. And makes it even worse when every single character would just fall for his tricks. And it is quite obnoxious to watch this film for. I mean, I don't care if Will Smith is voicing this character. There's no reason for this character to be a good sign of jackass. And I guess that shows how Will Smith can be a bit of an asshole, but it actually does make sense why he's an asshole, because he literally slapped Chris Rock in Oscars after insulting his wife. No matter who always says that who's the worst character out there is no denying that Oscar is the definitive worst. Yes, I think we all could agree that he's the most obnoxious, painful, waste of time, and also the worst animated film character of all time. Well, at least I can say now, there are worse characters out there, don't you think?